talk about the Kurukshetra August edition, and this focuses on rural economy. So rural economy is one of the fundamental pillars, and what we would be talking today is the rural India, which accounts for some of the statistics before we start. So it accounts for 68.8% of the population, nearly 72% of the workforce of India, 47% contribution of the GDP, and therefore understanding and developing rural economy is crucial. So we would be focusing on some of the major agendas. The first agenda is reform, perform and transform. So we need to reform the rural life, bring in better performance so that the transformation of rural life can take place, and this can happen with revival with care, revival with compassion and revival with sustainability. So again, three important terms that you need to know. And during this time of pandemic, namaste has become a global way of greeting rather than handshaking. So we have grown from local to global, and that's what we are trying to explain in this session. Again, in India, if we consider, pharma industry is a great asset, and we can have great expansion in the rural peripheries. Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana has been launched this year, and that is to provide 5 kgs of pulses of 5 kgs of food grain and 1 kg of chana to the rural households in the time of pandemic to assist them with a basic food supply. Again, we have animal husbandry that needs to be strengthened, and we have an animal husbandry infrastructure development fund that aims at providing dairy, animal feed and meat supplies. Now here what we are trying to understand is the various packages that are coming in. So rural economy, as we said, accounts for nearly 46 to 47% of the total GDP. Of the total workforce that is there, nearly 94% of the workforce is in unorganized sector, the informal sector, where they do not have the benefits that are being drawn through the formal sector. So that is one of the major drawbacks that we have. And with this thing in mind, we need to focus on the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, when we talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India, we need to have a focus on agriculture, but besides agriculture, there have to be other provisions as well. These focus on the allied facilities that could be given. These could be in the form of fishery, animal husbandry, banking, healthcare, education and medical purposes. So what we need to go is beyond the agriculture. What else can boost the rural economy? Now, for a farmer's perspective, doubling farmers income 2022 has been our mission, and for that we have been working through various schemes. For improvement of soil, we have the soil health card scheme, we have the organic food scheme where we are trying to produce more of organic farming. We also have schemes for contract farming, a common way through which agriculture workers or farmers could be united through an online platform, and that is ENAM, Electronic National Agricultural Market, to remove any kind of intermediaries and remove and curb the corruption issues. Similarly, we have Krishi Sinchai Yojana for the purpose of irrigation, we have Fasal Bima Yojana for insurance, we have Kisan credit cards and Mudra schemes for small loans that could be given. Again, an emergency credit line has been planned under the Atmanirbhar Bharat package. We are talking about nearly 25 lakh new Kisan credit cards, 63 lakh loans that could be given, and numerous benefits that could be given under the Mudra scheme, mainly the Shishu loans that have been granted. And also we are focusing towards increasing the wage rate for the Manrega workers. So those are some of the major things that we need to focus on. Now, when it comes to government schemes, government has been working day in and day out to bring in development in the rural areas. Now, this starts with the basic facilities like housing. So you have PM Awas Yojana. Then we have the facilities for water supply. Jal Jeevan Abhiyan that has been part of it. For healthcare, you have Ayushman Bharat. Similarly, you have Kaushal Vikas Kendra for skill development and upgradation of skill. Ujala scheme for LED. You have Mahila Choir Yojana and Choir Udyami Yojana for choir industries. Deen Dayal Antodaya Yojana, Spurti scheme, which is mainly for the traditional handcrafts that are there. Numerous schemes on innovation and entrepreneurship development, and Matsya Sampada mainly for focus on Matsya, that is the fishery. Now, besides that, training youth as entrepreneurs is important. Promoting livestock rearing, animal husbandry, talking about developing digital villages, digital education, focusing on Gandhi's vision, that is the future of India lies in its villages. So if the villages are developed, you definitely have much more developments that could be seen. Now if we focus on the role of agriculture, we can simply classify the workforce as skilled, unskilled, semi-skilled and women workforce. Now each of these workforce can have certain specific criteria under which they can work. So under the semi-skilled, we can have works like fish culture, honeybee, solar carting. However, for unskilled workforce, we can have mushroom cultivation, goat rearing, infrastructural development. For skilled laborers or skilled farmers, you can have more developments in R&D for agriculture. Recirculating aquaculture is another important development that we are focusing on, and agro machineries. For women, we can have herbal products that could be created, small scale industries and agro processing units where agricultural inputs could be used for small scale industries, for example generating papads or achars. So that is how you have the women vendors that could be involved. Now if we talk about India, India has some of the leading figures. India stands first in terms of production of milk and pulses, second in the production of wheat, rice, vegetables, third in the world in production of food grains. Despite of that, we have seen a significant decline in the workforce in agriculture over the last 5 decades or 50 years period. So what has been focused on is promoting more development at the grassroots level, bringing in agricultural universities, promoting agricultural universities, bringing in rural universities for the same purpose, and agricultural sectoral growth should increase. So that has been our main focus. Now with this, when we talk about the land in India, we have nearly 1/4 of the world's farmers that are there, and 48% of the world's arable land which is good and suitable for agriculture lies in India. So 48% being a significant amount, that means close to half of the fertile land of the world lies in India. So we are a good reservoir and a potential for agricultural growth and food grain productivity. So definitely there is a lot of scope for rural development. Now two important developments in the recent that has been done is the Kisan Rath app, and the second is All India Agri Transport Call Center. Now this was devised during the lockdown period, and this is a 24/7 service, that is 24 hours 7 days a week service, where agriculture would be better connected, and you would also have the Krishi Rail and Krishi Udan facilities. Krishi Rail would transport the perishable items like milk and meat, and Krishi Udan services would be mainly catering to the northeast India to provide the perishable items to the remaining part of the country. So those are kind of developments that have been focused on. Also, rural re-engineering is important. So what could be changed and what could be brought about? So the seeds bill has been replaced by a new seeds bill that has been into action. Similarly, we are now talking about an integrated development, not just agriculture. Along with agriculture, we are focusing on horticulture, food security. We are talking about farm machineries, equipments, and crop, livestock and aquaculture should go hand in hand as an integrated farming approach. Also, we have a 6-year strategy from 2016 to 2022, which is the doubling the farmers' income. Now, under there is a need to increase 10% of the farmers income as of now, and with this we can have a significant development in the rural area. Now if we talk about the past strategy close to the independence period, when India got independent, our strategy was raising the output and bringing in food security for the masses, but that was only for the general public. What happened in the recent years is focus on the farmer, how to improve the life of the farmers and how to bring in diversity. So improving agriculture, going beyond agriculture to livestock diversity, productivity, intensity is one of the major issues that we have focused on. Also, as we have discussed, the various schemes, ENAM, which is providing a unified portal for the farmers, is important. We are also focusing on moving from the sustainable crops, which is the mere rice, wheat that is being growing, to high value crops. Now what are the high value crops? High value crops are those crops which could give in more revenue to the farmers. Those could be in the form of fruits, sugarcane, fiber, condiments, spices. You have sugarcane which could be used for production of sugar and can be exported globally. So we are trying to move from the low value crops, which is the rice and wheat, to high value crops like those what we discussed. And at present these high value crops are only 19% of the total cropped area, and the remaining 77% is being occupied by the crops which are low value crops. So we need to increase this cropped area from 19% at least to somewhere around 30-40% to have better sustainability that could be registered. The next is focusing on the food processing industries. Now food processing is a major industry. As we said, if I am directly bringing rice or wheat into the market, it would fetch me less money, but if there is processed, semi-processed, frozen food items that are being delivered mainly for the nuclear families which are there right now, this becomes much more in demand and is high value proposition. So what is happening is we have nearly 39 mega food parks that have come in, numerous cold chain projects for perishable items for storage purpose, Kisan Rail and Kisan Udan we already talked about, and then we are focusing on 100% FDI through automatic route for more investment in agriculture. When you have more foreign direct investment in agriculture, you have better perspectives. Now again, agriculture has one of the largest numbers of people engaged, where we have nearly 14% of the employment in the unregistered sector, with around nearly 51 lakh workers which are engaged in food processing and agro-based industries. And besides this, our agro exports account for only 10% of the global exports. So we have a lot way forward for more exports to come. Dairy is another upgrowing field, where we have Dairy Processing and Infrastructural Development Fund, which is trying to connect nearly 40,000 direct and 2 lakh indirect people in this employment option, with connection of nearly 50,000 villages across India. So definitely a big way forward. The next is, when we are trying to make our rural areas self-reliant, we have to bring in developments. So small scale industries, medium scale industries need to come in the rural area. So what we are trying to focus on, changing the definitions for the micro, small and medium enterprise. Now the investments, the old investment and the present day investment, the values have changed recently in 2019. So you have the new definitions here. So a micro unit would be considered with an investment of around 1 crore and turnover of 5 crores. A small scale with an investment of 10 crore up to 10 crores and turnover up to 50 crores. And medium industry with an investment up to 50 crores and a turnover up to 250 crores. Again, numerous items are there in the Essential Commodity Act. What does that mean? These are the essential commodities and cannot be exported to other nations. So for example, you had oil seeds, onion and potato, which were in the essential commodity. Now they have been out of the essential commodity. So these products could be exported to other nations as of now. But there is a clause, in case of war, natural disaster or any other food grain shortage that occurs, this act would be repealed and they would again be brought into the Essential Commodity Act. That means they are essential for the people of India and they won't be sold elsewhere. As simple as that, in very simple terms. Now again, From the forest, we have numerous minor forests produced, for example, lakh, mahua, which is being generated. Now, this small minor forest produce that is being generated is again a major source of earning for the tribals and the local people. So there is a scheme for formalization of micro food processing centers from these minor forest produce, that is very, very important. Also, as we said, Jal Jeevan Abhiyan, which is focusing on water availability to every household in the rural area, and water connectivity through pipelines to each and every household has been important. But when it comes to India and other nations, the story is very, very different. When we talk about let's say European Union, a small and medium enterprise has less than 250 people and has a turnover of nearly 50 million euro, which is much, much, much larger than what we have quoted for India. So definitely, when we talk about a small enterprise in India and a small enterprise in Europe, it makes a significant difference. So comparison by any case is not proper, we could say. The next important thing that we need to understand is the Garib Kalyan Yojana. Now, Garib Kalyan Yojana has come up in light of the reverse migration taking place during the COVID pandemic lockdown period. So what is happening is you have lot of migrant laborers moving back from the urban area to the rural area. Now, when they are moving back to the rural area, they need to be gainfully employed in some of the works. So these are a list of 25 proposed works, which includes construction of sanitation centers, goat shed, cow shed, horticulture, railway culture, infrastructure, well, Anganwadis, where these people can be employed, and through Manrega there can be options of employment that could be generated. Also, a online national monitoring information system, migrant information system, would be generated, which would have a database of all the migrant laborers moving across the country. Free food grain distribution is already one of the policies that we have discussed. Similarly, we are trying to provide at least 8 lakh man days of employment to the migrants who are moving back. Employment, infrastructure and long-term livelihood opportunities are some of the key parameters that could actually change the life of the people, bring in security, and infusion of funds during this 125 days period would be a greater thrust to development in the rural areas. So as we said, the Gandhi's vision, where he says, for me the life begins and ends only in the villages, is something that is very, very important, and these displaced people need to bring in development for them. So MSMEs, the definition we have already understood, and the sole idea to promote MSMEs is our small hands make you large. So to make a country large, we need contribution of these small hands, and these are some of the schemes that are there for MSMEs. As we said, for the traditional handicrafts and promotion of that, you have the Sfurti scheme. For choir industry, you have the choir board. You have solar charkha mission, credit schemes, the mudra schemes. You also have schemes for promotion of rural entrepreneurship and industries, which is very, very important. Also, if we talk about the 6.3 crore MSMEs that are present in India, of those you have 99.4% which are micro enterprise, which are small in nature, of which 45% are engaged with manufacturing, 40% of that is exported. It accounts for nearly 28% of the GDP, and 111 million people are employed with these industries. So that is where we are talking about the development of small and medium industries. Now, if we talk about the global statistics, you have World Bank, which has revealed a lot of emergency fund of nearly $700 million that would be going into the emergency response program to give a thrust to the MSMEs across the globe, mainly in India. Our e-commerce during this period has significantly boomed up by 17%, but the other industries have gone down. Now, in line of what has been the global economic perspective, the world report says that the GDP of other nations would shrink by nearly 5%. In comparison to that, India's GDP would be shrinking only by 3%. So definitely we have this rural sector that would be performing exceptionally good, not only for India but across the globe. Now, again, an important aspect is bamboo in our life. Bamboo so far was considered as tree, so cutting of bamboo was not allowed. With the recent change in the act, you now have bamboo as a grass that it has been declared. 40% of the northeast region is occupied by bamboo. In India, you have 5% of the global trade share of bamboo that is there. But despite of that, we are the second largest producer of bamboo. So we can have a lot of bamboo development and bamboo as an upcoming industry, not only domestic but a export based industry that could come up. The next is how to empower women. So empowerment of women is definitely important. 71% of the women are confining themselves to agriculture in rural area, 9% are linked in manufacturing, and only 6% in the construction activity. So significant proportion of women are associated with agriculture and allied activities. So focusing on agro processing industries could be one of the major developments. Most of the males who are there in the non-farm work are associated with non-farm work beyond agriculture. Now what are the schemes that have come up? So Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao is one of the major schemes. Then you have Mahila E-Heart, where the women can sell their local produce, the local handcrafts, and such E-Hearts are being organized not only across India but through an electronic portal. So again, a development measurement. Mahila Shakti Kendra, where you have district level center for women that would be defined, and it is meant to empower and bring in more financial and income opportunities through Manrega, providing more sources of activities related to construction, be it construction of Anganwadi, construction of well, or any kind of construction activity in the rural area. Poshan Abhiyan is very important. It is linked to the National Nutrition Mission, and the idea is to promote better health of mother and child. Also, you have Anganwadi schemes which aims at promoting and developing Anganwadi. Anganwadis are one of the major centers through which you have development that occurs in the rural area. Mainly a child's development is being focused in the Anganwadi. So those were some of the key highlights that we have understood in this Kurukshetra. Very important. We are covering Yojana Kurukshetra and down to earth on regular basis. So stay subscribed for many more updates from our side. Meeting you soon. Have a wonderful day ahead.